Hello learners, in part 3 of the video we learned about the individual factors impacting negotiation. In this video we are going to study about the situational factors influencing negotiation. Now what are the situational factors that impact negotiation? The success of negotiation depends upon 4 major situational factors, one being location, next physical setting, third, time passage and deadlines, and fourth, audience characteristics. We are going to study these factors in detail in the forthcoming slides. Now, talking about location. With familiar location, negotiating parties feel more comfortable. Strategic benefit of a familiar location helps in realizing better negotiation. Computer technology is making it possible for 2 distinct groups to negotiate without a liquidation. However, most of the time electronic media messages can be misinterpreted and may lead to escalation of conflicts if the parties are engaged in flaming. Now, flaming is the act of sending emotionally charged messages called flame mail to others. This occurs because people can send email messages before their emotions subside, whereas the sender of a traditional memo or letter would have time for second thoughts. The physical settings. Sometimes physical settings, that is a physical distance and seating arrangements, do play a significant role in negotiation. The physical distance between 2 disputed parties can influence negotiation process and their orientation towards each other. There are more chances of developing win-lose orientation if people sit face to face. Talking about time passage and deadlines. Time passage and deadline can help in reaching better negotiation outcomes. Time passage. The more time spent in negotiation, the stronger and better commitment to reaching an agreement. This increases the motivation to resolve conflict, but it also fuels commitment to a stated position. Talking about time deadlines. Useful and effective to the extent that time deadlines generate motivation among parties to complete negotiations. This time deadline may prove to be a liability to an organization if a cost is associated with exceeding the deadline. Negotiators make concessions and soften their demands more rapidly as the deadlines approach. Audience characteristics. Negotiators generally have audiences. Anyone who has a stake in the negotiation process and its outcome, such as the senior management, other team members, or the general public, are part of the audience. Negotiation may act differently when their audience are more interested in detailed negotiation information rather than just end results. When the audience are more interested and has direct surveillance over the negotiation proceedings, the negotiators tend to be more competitive, negotiation strategies less willing to make concessions, more likely to engage in political tactics against the other party. Now, with the audiences watching, negotiators also have more interest in saving their face. Sometimes, audience are drawn into the negotiations by acting as a source of indirect appeal. And the general public often takes on this role when groups negotiate with governments. So there's a small activity which can be tried out by the readers or the people who are watching the video. It is about finding out different factors that are important for negotiation. Now, ethics also play an important role in the negotiation process. There are a number of ethical dilemmas attached to negotiating to get what you want. Few of them are, should there be no falsification or one should always tell the truth? Should you be upfront and reveal your game plan? What you can ethically not tell or can reveal? These difficult questions and dilemmas every organization deals with, whether it is formal or informal one. Now, these are some of the ethical violations which need to be avoided by the negotiators. besides the errors or biases, perceptual biases that we talked in the previous videos. One is selective disclosure, misrepresentation, deception and lying, false threat and false promises, and inflicting direct or indirect harm. Selective disclosure talks about negotiators highlighting positive information and downplaying or failing to mention the negative information. Misrepresentation, where most of the time negotiators misstate facts and information or their position. For example, they misrepresent the lowest price they are willing to accept. Deception and lying, here the negotiators give the other party factually incorrect information or information that leads to incorrect assumptions or conclusions. False threat and false promises, negotiators provide misinformation about actions that they take and concessions they may be willing to make. Inflicting direct or indirect harm, negotiators intentionally sabotage the other party's chance of success. Then there are other pointers which should be noted while dealing with negotiation. Negotiation may encounter any of these violations. The most severe violations are false information and inflicting harm. How a negotiator ranks the other depends on his values and morals, and in some cases his culture too. These are some of the tips for monitoring ethics in the form of advices and their description. One is learning from your mistakes. So here everybody has violated ethics and one should learn from them and try not to repeat them. Second being, do you like what you see? Now this talks about evaluating your own behavior and strategies. Are we proud of ourselves in the negotiation process while making a negotiation, or do we like our behavior and attitude will be enough to monitor our ethics? Then, what does the other person see? Here, consider how you appear to the other party or to any observer. Are you projecting a right image? Do you like what you are projecting of yourself? That's it. Thank you for watching this video where we talked about the individual and situational factors impacting negotiation. In the next video, I shall be talking about methods of conflict resolution.